Don't miss this week's new Combat Squad releases for the Primaris Marines.
Spiky bits.
What's up, Hobby Maniacs? Rob Baer back again with you today, showcasing yet another wave of Primaris Space Marine releases from Games Workshop. Of course, these are the new 5-man Combat Squad box sets. Each one is $35 US. Comes out this week, and of course, they're exactly the same as half the box of their $60 counterparts. They come with 10 models that were released a few weeks ago, and I know what you're thinking. I can't remember a time when, we weren't talking about Primaris new releases here on the channel, but I guess they're selling, so, Games Workshop keeps putting them out there. Again, this is exactly the same as what we saw in the past. It's just the 5-man variants. You're going to get all the multi-part goodness here, all the weapon options, all the coolness in here. We talked about this stuff ad nauseum, the bionic bits, the scarred heads, holding the plasma rifles here. It's all in here. It's everything's in here, but they are the 5-man versions of the 10-man box sets. 10-man box set goes for $60, and that's kind of where a little bit of the controversy comes in, I guess, for, some folks are like, hey, why didn't they make them $30? Obviously, we're not Games Workshop. We don't know the pricing structure. I have no idea how they do it personally either. But you could, an educated guess would be, hey, if something's 60 and you're offering it for, half the models, then why wouldn't it be half the price of $30 there? But then remember, too, you've got the character models that go for $35, so maybe Games Workshop didn't want to set a weird precedent to where 5 models go for less than 1 character model of the same type. I don't really know. Either way, at the end of the day, vote with your Holly dollars. If this isn't for you, then this isn't for you, and there's no sense complaining about it if you weren't even going to buy it in the first place. But it is the internet, and people are going to complain. Shocker. But I don't know what to say. I mean, $35 is easier to afford than $60. So maybe somebody doesn't have or even need all 10 of those Marines, so they're just going to pick up the $35 box set, which seems to make sense to me, right? But you've got the folks out there too that are like, over time they're just trying to replace the Primaris Marine or the normal Marines with Primaris Marines, and all of our Marines aren't going to be worth anything. I mean, in time, none of our stuff's going to be worth anything, really, if you think about it. But just do you. Don't let somebody tell you how to do the hobby at the end of the day. Here you can see these are the Hell Blasters. Again, they're just, they're very simple to put together. You got the left-right leg assemblies on these ones. They're a little different from the Reavers that are going to go into the torsos. They're specific ones. And then from there, you can choose which weapon you want to go with. If you want to do, the assault plasma incinerators. It all depends on the different front and the different back rail sight thing right here, like we showed you last week. That's pretty much it. It's literally the same kit. Here, quick look at the Sprues right there. You can see the dope ass backpacks. You've got the left and right legs. All of your variants for the front plasma rifles right there. Here is the other side. That's going to be your backpacks, your torsos, your front and left half of the torsos, your weapon arms, and then all your different options. Now there is a lot of heads in here. There's some scarred up heads and some bionic bits and things from them overheating, as Games Workshop said, hey, sometimes stuff happens and these veterans are just, they'll shrug it off because they're Marines, but at the end of the day, they're still gonna have scars and such. And remember too, just because on the tabletop, if something's removed from play, it doesn't necessarily mean the model died and, on the battlefield. It could just be disabled. He's just like laying there or whatever, but effectively he's a casualty because he cannot, aid his battle brothers or whatever. So I don't know. That's just a little bit of 40K theory thrown into the mix there. Next up is the Reavers. Of course, a great set. People love these models. They got dope ass heads. They got all sorts of cool weapon options. You can do the close combat, the heavy bolt pistols, which I feel like are pretty good. For their damage output at -1 AP. Grappling launchers are cool. I mean, they're just neat models in general. We hadn't seen anything like this before, and it was a nice little boon for Games Workshop to put out. So maybe you've got the $15 box set of these, which really isn't that multi-part, and now you've got the $35 box set. So I imagine we're going to see a lot more of these guys on the tabletop. As far as assembly goes, left and right legs, front and right back torsos right there, and then from there you can choose which weapon options you want to go with. If you want to go with their carbine, you want to go with their heavy bolt pistol, and their close combat weapon. They've got a couple of different options, and then from there the heads. They've got the skull heads or the open heads as well. And then, of course, you can put the graph shoot thingamabobber, and they got all sorts of packs and combat knives and chutes and ladders and things to put on the back of them right there. So cool little models. Again, exactly what we saw in the past. We'll show you the sprues real quick, just because I don't want to leave you without a dope beat to step to. There they are, left and right halves of the legs, front and right backs of the torsos. The head options, just so you can see them right there. And then over here, you've got your one single grapnel that's going to come in here, your shooting out grapnel, your heavy bolt pistols, your close combat knife, your carbines, and all of your different grab shoot options and extra doodads right over there. So $35 kit coming in hot for this week, of course. And last but certainly not least is going to be the multi-part intercessor box, which I think has some of the cooler looking bits. Personally, I like this little motioning guy right there, and then of course you've got, you know, your new Mark II cowl pattern bolter thingamabobbers, the Stalker bolt rifle, and then your little wrist communicators, bolt pistols. There's all sorts of extra little bits in here that really make these guys kind of over the top. Now, we saw it with the Tactical Squad when they redid it, I think in like, what, 2013? But it's really cool to see that they're kind of continuing that tradition in with the new Marines here, the new recruits, so to speak. So here's how they go together. Now, they're going to be a little bit different than the other guys. They're going to have the left and right halves of the legs, but they're also going to have the front kind of greave type deals, kind of like what we saw with Guilliman and some of the aggressors, and then the left and right half of the torso. And then once you get them together, the backpack, and then from there, it's just kind of figure out what weapon options you kind of want to go with. And remember, you can choose the standard bolt rifle. You've got all sorts of different fronts and drub-fed mags. So there is no shortage to bits in this kit. If you're looking to like customize out some dope-ass Primaris Marines, this is probably the kit for you. And at $35, it's kind of the cheapest way to pick up in a multi-part kind of type format. And then all the bits and bobs and, you know, marksman honors and tassels and pouches and things ad nauseum till the cows come home right there, and they're all in here. Let's take a look at the sprues. Here is the first sprue, which is a little bit kind of laid out a little uniquely, I suppose. You've got all of your right and left legs, you got your shoulders, lots of different shoulders here, laurels, pouches, heads, all sorts of different things. Not exactly everything where you would expect it to be. And then over here, same type of deal. And then there's all of your bolter bits to customize out whichever way you want. Combat knives, pointing fingers, etc., etc. Some of the greave plates and all that stuff right there. So again, just like the $60 box that came out a few weeks ago, same, except for you only get one set of sprues, which is actually two individual sprues cut in half, whereas you would get double that for the $60 box set there. Also out this week is the 30th edition anniversary figure, which we're going to show you in a different video. That's that guy right there. And the Disciples of Tzeentch data cards, $15 set for Age of Sigmar, 25 War Scrolls from the Battle-Tuned Disciples of Tzeentch came out this week too. So that's the new releases. We're going to do the the Intercessor in a different video there. So like I said, lots of cool stuff. If you're only looking to spend a little bit of cash this week to pick up some Primaris, well, this is probably the way to go. Controversy and pricing aside, well, you know, we all have our hobby budget, and don't let anybody else out there kind of tell you how to hobby when you have a certain vision and a certain budget in mind out there. Now, who's to say if there will be more Primaris releases in the near future? We know that they do have an aircraft called the Overlord in their lineup, in their fluff background. We're seeing a lot of new Death Guard stuff on the horizon as well. So, I mean, realistically speaking, Games Workshop could always go back and put out more units, or perhaps more transports, or, you know, maybe just go back and reconfigure the Redemptor Dreadnought to have extra, you know, bits or something like that. It's really hard to say what is on the horizon out there for the Primaris Space Marines. I mean, I suppose you could do characters ad nauseum to some point, but at the end of the day, I feel like their troopers are pretty well flushed out with all of the multi-part kits that are now available. You know, and the little 3-part kind of push-fit starter kind of type bits. But either way, it is not easier. It couldn't be easier to pick up Primaris Marines in any sort of configuration, from the push-fit stuff from the Dark Imperium and No Fear boxes to these 5-man box sets that go for $35 to the bigger, larger $60 kits that came out a few weeks ago. And then of course you have all of your characters for days as well. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed our unboxing of the 3 new combat squads for the Primaris Space Marines, the Intercessors, Hellblasters, and Primaris Reavers. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on what we have to say here. And head on over to longwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.